Therese, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainties about the financial dynamics with the way real estate's done. I just have a simple question. What is a short sale?
A short sale is where a homeowner still actually owns the house and they are marketing the property for a price that is usually far less than the loan amount that they actually owe on the property. So let's just say a home is being marketed at $200,000, but their loan amount is $225,000. That's what a short sale is.
Okay. And so what happens if they sell the house for $200,000 but the loan amount's $225,000? What happens there?
Well, see, their lender actually has to agree to take a loss on the loan. So the process, it's a short sale, meaning that the seller is short on their loan amount, but the process itself is far from being short. That's what I really want to convey to people, to buyers and sellers alike, that it can take, even if we have an offer on a property, 5 to 9 months to hear back from the bank. So the bank ultimately is the decision maker. The lender decides, are they going to take a loss on the property? And the financial implications to the current homeowner, they have to discuss that with their lending institution. They need to decide, is that option the best one for them?
Okay, here's where I'm confused. If the short sale process can take 4 to 5 up to 9 months, doesn't that automatically pull someone into a foreclosure situation?
Sometimes a home, if that particular seller is delinquent on their payments, it can go into foreclosure. But sometimes if there's an offer on the table on a property that's a short sale, or the bank is being notified that a property is being marketed, sometimes then that bank will actually slow down on the foreclosure process and wait until there's an offer on the property.
Okay, what happens to someone's credit score? And I know that you're not giving legal advice here or anything else, but typically, from what you know from generalities, what happens to credit scores between a short sale and a foreclosure?
Well, both of them will affect your credit. And to the degree that it will affect your credit, I really don't want to answer that. I feel that that's not my area of expertise, but you do need to check into that. You need to find out what are the ramifications for both of those options. But honestly, in this market, sometimes a third of our market right now is short sales or foreclosures. And with that said, those options are there for sellers. So they just need to find out what will impact their credit. They need to discuss that with their financial advisors.
Okay, we do know this. We do know that there is a mark. We don't know the extent of it with a short sale as well as a foreclosure. What happens if the home forecloses? How long does it take before someone actually moves out? And then what happens when it becomes bank owned? How does that relate to getting it sold again?
Well, at the time that a foreclosure happens, then that person is evicted from the property and an actual foreclosure auction occurs. And typically what happens is the bank is the one that has the most vested interest in the property. So they're the ones that take back the property at the time of the foreclosure. So then it goes into a bank-owned status. And if a buyer is looking at homes that are bank-owned properties, they can actually buy that home directly from the bank, and the process is a lot shorter than actually purchasing a short sale.
And when they buy directly from the bank, do they need realtor representation?
Oh, more than you can imagine. Absolutely, because the bank kind of has their own rules, and their rules are not following what we commonplace do in the real estate industry. There's a lot of times no disclosure made about the house. People need to know that realtors need to guide them specifically through the inspection process and the appraisal process and all the other contingencies that we are still allowed to have even with a bank-owned property.